Hey, welcome back, everybody, and it's Charlie. We're doing the Temple 420 Bible Study and Torah Tour. We're literally trying to find out what Jesus is doing in Mathew 4 with the Satan questions and answers, and do you have the answers to the questions? Have you studied for the test? Did you know it was a test? Moses says in Exodus 20:20, because it's now 2020, do not be afraid. God has come down here to test you so that the fear of God will be with you. The aroma of God, the one that makes you paranoid at the beginning, but then turns out to be your best friend as you sit down and you walk and talk and get to know yourself. No more, you don't need to be alone anymore. If you're in a relationship, focus on that person, but then go to God first. If you're not in any physical relationship, now is the greatest time in your life, the moment, the present, to actually sit down with God and develop a relationship with Him one-on-one. No distractions, right? That is the jealousy that He longs to have you long for Him. It's almost like you're going to be in a relationship with Him, not with somebody physical. It's mental, but through the medicine, we feel His love, right? So, Jesus is tested in the wilderness. We've turned stone into bread, Zechariah 3:8. And then it is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test. Now, where is he flipping on that one? Deuteronomy 6:12. This one's just crazy, and I got to read this one. I wasn't even planning. It's funny, I was going to do the rest of it, and I was like, nope, when I saw the flip, I'm like, I got to read the flip. So, Deuteronomy 6:12 and 13 is really it. So, we'll start with Deuteronomy 10 and get through, but the section is love the Lord your God, which his name is Hashem, but you won't find that in the Greek. So, Deuteronomy 6, actually, we're going to get to 6:4 too. So we're going to read Deuteronomy 6 in this video. Here's a couple things. The flips come from, do not put the Lord your God to the test, and worship him only, serve him only, otherwise you'll see what he does. And also, it says in Mark, Mathew, and Luke, someone comes up to Jesus and says, what is the greatest commandment? Well, in Matthew and Luke, he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind and strength. We understand that. Now we understand that it's through the strength of cannabis and the endocannabinoid system and hemp and rope and vessels and masts and all that building material. Here's a joke. Where do you get the building material to build the temple of God, considering it's pot? Go to Home Depot. Home Depot. Anyways, so we are going to love the Lord your God with all our heart, soul, and mind. But in Mark, Jesus says, hear, O Israel, which is exactly Deuteronomy 6:4, which is what every Jewish person knows. So let's read Deuteronomy 6 in this video as a flip from Mathew 4, and it says, do not test him and worship him only. Okay, actually, let's just finish, you know what? Let's finish Mathew 4, and then we'll do a couple flips. So, the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point, and he said, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels to guard you. So, at that point, Psalm 91 says, if you dwell in the temple of the Most High, and if you love God, God says, because he loved me, I will rescue him. So this is like, if you choose God, he's just going to rescue you. And then it continues. Again it is written, do not put the Lord your God to the test. And then again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and all of their splendor. Now he's talking about the two kingdoms, the regular air and the new air, because those are the kingdoms, is your abdomen and the king of bruise. So, this I will give to you, he said, if you bow down and worship my heir. Jesus said, away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. So Jesus is having a conversation with Satan in his mind, being tested in the wilderness, and he answers the question, it is written, for worship the Lord your God and serve him only. Then the devil left him. So if you want the doubt and the fear of life to get out of your system and you want to be a positive person, you actually have to answer the questions correctly and serve God only. And then the angels will come and attend to you, which is the angels will come to you and lift you up if you dwell in the temple of the Most High. And this is worshiping the Lord your God and serving him only. So this goes back to Deuteronomy 6. So let's read Deuteronomy 6. I'm debating on making it a long video or not. We'll shorten it up and we'll just read Deuteronomy 12 or 6:12 through 16 just to look at the flip, and then we'll come back and do a part C of Deuteronomy 6. All right. So, be careful, verse 12, Deuteronomy 6. Be careful that you do not forget the Lord, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. Right now, you're in the land of slavery because you're on the other side of the field. You're not God's side. So you're going to switch, and he's going to bring you out. It's amazing how he does that. Fear the Lord your God, serve him only, and take your oaths in his name. Do not follow other gods, the gods of the peoples around you. So the Jewish people only have one God. Those are the instructions from Emmanuel being tested in the wilderness. Jesus answers Satan's questions. Don't test God. Worship him only. And Moses said the same thing, and they're both Jewish. So that's where Judaism really becomes into, hear, O Israel, there's only one God. Right? So, fear the Lord your God, serve him only, take your oaths in his name. Do not follow other gods, the gods of the Christians. For the Lord your God, who is among you, and this is Deuteronomy, so God is among us with Moses. It's the aroma, the presence of God. You can smell him. Is a jealous God, and his anger will burn against you, and he will destroy you from the face of the earth. Do not put the Lord your God to the test, as you did at Massah. Be sure to keep his commands of the Lord your God, and the stipulations and decrees he has given you. Do what is right and good in the Lord's sight, so that it may go well with you, and you may go in and take over the good land the Lord promised on oath to your ancestors, thrusting out your enemies before you, as the Lord said. So in Deuteronomy, they're talking about physical going into the land of Canaan, right? And trusting in Hashem. And he's going to thrust out your enemies. Well, at that point, the land is now internal. And if you can take the land of Canaan and breathe it into your body, then he will do the same thing. He will thrust out your enemies, your doubt. But it's really interesting to see where Jesus flips to 1400 years earlier. Be careful that you do not forget the Lord. This is what Jesus is saying about the Father, Hashem. Actually, let's open up Deuteronomy 6 in the Torah, and we'll finish it out in the last part of the book, because the Torah is just the book, and if you're going to do Hashem, you better do Torah. So, all right, we got 2 minutes left in the video. If we can get it done in 2 minutes. Deuteronomy 6 is right here. This is the commandment. The Shema. This is the Shema. Okay, so there, as I see it, I'm like, oh, the Shema. Yes, this is the Shema. Hear, O Israel, Hashem is our God. Hashem is the one and only. End of story. Jesus says, serve him only in the Greek, in the Hebrew. It is Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, do not put the Lord your God to the test. He is the one and only. Does that settle it? So every Christian you know, you can go politely and wake them up and say, oops, I think we've been following Jesus, but Jesus follows his Father, and Jesus says serve him only. Maybe we should serve and worship him the way Jesus does, by bringing the burnt offerings and sacrifices into the body which he's created, the new temple. So, you shall love Hashem, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your resources. Okay, so then it continues to, beware yourself lest you forget Hashem. So don't forget his name, which is the whole point of not forgetting and remembering, is the memory tree that Abraham sits under. That's why this tree, this plant, is a memory system. It wipes away old, it burns away old, yucky memories, cleans it up all nice and neat per Zechariah 3:8, and then gives you a new perspective of life. God's perspective. Remember, he took everybody out of Egypt with Moses, and he wants to do the same thing with you and me today in 2020. So, you, Hashem your God, shall you fear. Him shall you serve, and in his name shall you swear. Hashem your God shall you fear, him shall you serve, and in his name Hashem shall you swear. You shall not follow other gods, the gods of other people around you, for a jealous God is Hashem, your God among you. We have any doubt on who's the name of God anymore? No. Hashem, 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 Baruch Hashem. For he is a jealous God, your God among you, lest the wrath of Hashem, your God, will flare against you. You and he will flare against you, and he destroy you from upon the face of the earth. You shall not test Hashem, your God, as you tested him at Massah. You shall surely observe the commandments of Hashem, your God, and his testimonies and his decrees that he commanded you. You shall do what is fair and good in the eyes of Hashem, and it will be good for you. And you will enter and come to possess the good land that Hashem has sworn to your fathers. There we go. We're going to end at 14:20. I think we've covered enough in this video. But we know who Hashem is. It's a land flowing with milk and honey. Don't test him, says Jesus. But there is a point where you want to test him with questions, and he'll give you answers in the tent of the meeting. So you have a conversation and test him with his tithes and offerings. Baruch Hashem, and God bless.